All right, so I'm literally about to start putting everything together right now. The reservoirs, everything, and I mean, I came down to it, and look how much look how much growth I've had in the last few days. I mean, look at that root system. It's unbelievable. These things grow so rapidly when they're happy. It's unreal. So I look forward to putting all these in their proper reservoirs. The first thing I do is this is a tough process for anybody that's gone through this or is ready to go through this. This is the worst of the process. It takes time. Everything good takes time, right? And this is what you have to go through when you're setting up this large setup. This is not a small setup. But I have found some excellent Facebook groups that there are people that are growing unbelievable things. I mean, their systems are humongous. Honestly, the worst part about this for me, before I go into that, look at this. Look at this crack. Over time, this has happened. I am due for a whole new reservoir setup. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. These are totes. You know what I mean? These are used to simply store things in. My biggest issue with this is the proper height that I feel is best for my plants. It's not too much water because a lot of them are kind of high and deep. I like this specific size because the root system just goes into the water really clean, really easy. It doesn't require too much water. That's why I really like this size, and that's why I've been keeping up with these, trying to hold on to these as long as possible. So I don't know how much longer I have, and this one's still in good shape, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, these, you have to really start to put them into the actual reservoirs and get them going, because if I let these go under the light for another 1 or 2 days, this is where things get bad. They could actually start to, it'll negatively affect the plants by just letting them sit there. I mean, look, this one's kind of already getting leggy in a sense. You see how it's kind of coming up higher? You want this base to be a little lower in this rock wall. You see how it's starting to get a little funny? And you could simply push this down with a chopstick, and that's what I use. But these things are ready. I mean, their root systems are ginormous. They really are big. Take a look at a few more. That's a nice strong root right there. And just in a couple of days, as soon as they sense that water, they sense that little bit of humidity, the root system just starts climbing down. All right, let me put this over here real quick. Put this other reservoir in, and I'm gonna fill them up with water. And then we'll start adding them directly into the reservoir. All right, so as you can see now, all 3 reservoirs are full with water. You know, to tell you the truth, before, I don't know why, I didn't really have any buckets around to make it easier. I realized that I've been doing it much harder than I should have been. I was making it way more difficult. I was taking large pitchers, going up and down the stairs, filling these pitchers up, filling one by one. I realized over here, I have a bucket. It's actually a Bubble Boy bucket. It's like it's actually a reservoir that has 4 pods available in it. I simply filled it up with water, brought it down. It took me like 3 or 4 times. I think it was 3 times, and it was super quick, super easy. So I did it much faster than I thought. But as you can see here, this is the setup, okay? Once you have the reservoir set up, you put the water in. Now I have these clamps right here, as you can see. These are really good clamps. These are a little upgraded from what I used to have here, but what those are is they're used in fish tanks. And let's say that here's the wall of the fish tank. A lot of times they have a light here, and that's exactly what they use. They kind of suction them to the side of the fish tank, and they have a light. So I use those because they have a much nicer grip. A lot of people also question, why do I use them? Now, if you took a plain aerator stone, just like that, and put it at the bottom of one of these plastic tubs, and you have a lot of air percolating through. Like, for example, let me actually go ahead and turn that on for you guys. All I gotta do is go right here, grab this, and pop that on. And as you can see, one of them was on. This is what controls the air pump. Best air pump in the game, General Hydroponics. The link is down below. Okay, check out the links, guys. This is the best pump in the game. It doesn't get hot, doesn't overheat, and it is super quiet. I mean, literally, we are in my basement. Just listen. What you're really hearing is more of the water percolating, and look at all that percolation. I mean, that is intense. Now, these two are not on right now. What you do is you turn this little knob just like that, and that gets going. Hit this one, that gets going. Now, the problem here is you want to evenly distribute the amount of air that's pushing out that root oxygen. This one's obviously getting a lot more because it has a much larger aerator stone. This one has a smaller one, that one has a smaller one. This one's also a little older. So what I do in this case, since this one's bigger, this tube might be smaller, so it's getting the air much faster. I reduce the air. Let me reduce it just a little bit. I'm going to reduce it just a little bit. That's going to be plenty. And that'll increase here. Now, I could also do it a little bit here. I think it's going a little nuts over here too. It's all bubbling, but this is great. This is exactly what you want. See that? This is exactly what you want. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put these tops on. Basically, it's ready. The setup is ready. We put our tops on. Okay. We get our hydrotone. The hydrotone is this. Okay, hydrotone. Clay pebbles. That's all it is. Got my nutrients right here. I got to re-up on the nutrients before the winter time. You never know what this winter might hold for the world, and I'm just preparing a little bit. Definitely want to have some nutrients. I've had these for like 2 years. I don't use that much nutrient, which is interesting, and my plants totally thrive. Bottom line, I'm sorry, let me come back here real quick. Where are they? There they are. So these are the net cups that I use. These are the best net cups that I found. They're very specific. They have this writing right here. This is Ponix Farm. The reason why I really like these, it's all about the lip. They have a heavy lip for this 2-inch hole. When you drop it in, you see that the lip goes over this entire perimeter. That means it's got a nice, steady surface. That's why I like these, okay? Check them out in the link down below under net pods. So basically you take this, grab a little hydrotone, drop a little bit in, take one of these plants with your little rock wool, you drop that in, it's technically ready. And all I do now is I take a little more hydrotone and I put it around the perimeter. And all that does is that it lets this sit firmly inside the net pod. And that's it. That's all there's to it. I drop that in, boom. And here's how I measure out if the water is high enough. So let's say there was something in front of here. I lift it up, I look in. As you can see, the water is reaching the bottom of the net pod. A lot of times the best thing you want to do is you take out all the hydrotone. I like to put a little hydrotone at the bottom. That's just my opinion. Let's say, I don't even know why I did that, because I could have just used, let's say you don't use any hydrotone and you drop this in at the bottom. You know, you want to put it around the perimeter to make it stand firm. But the reason why I like that is because the root development will go nuts. It'll grow twice as fast because the water, the oxygen, it's hitting directly in that rock wool. Imagine this piece of rock wool under a light. It will get extremely dried out. Now, you want to keep this moist. You want to keep it nice and wet to allow that entire root system to get all that water, air, nutrients, absorb in, release into the root to allow the development of the plant. You never want this dried out, because if this dried out, your plant dies, just basically keels over and it's over, literally. So by placing this directly into the water, that root is swimming, the rock wool is always getting water, nutrients, and it's basically just generating itself for a great outcome and a beautiful plant. And this plant is food, energy, and life for us. That's it, guys. I'm going to cut it short here. I'm going to go ahead and put these in, and I'm going to start periodically putting out these videos. It's really hard time to time to find the strength to really do this. It really is. It's hard to find the strength to come down to my basement, set everything up, clean everything, germinate, put it in, shoot the video, edit the video, but I'm happy to do it. Right now, I'm energized, I'm excited, so that's why you guys are getting some content. I've been trying some new diets out, so, you know, I'm super low carb, and I actually do have a lot more energy. I don't know, I wanted to share that with you. So hopefully, I'll be pushing out a lot more content and something a little more interesting too. I don't know, tell me in the comments what you're looking for me to show you. Is there anything that you're interested in? Is there anything specific that I should plant? You know, I was going to actually create one small little reservoir and put that under a light and put some things in there. I don't know if that's interesting, but I can tell you this: as soon as this goes in, the next germination phase will start for the bottom bins. Now, I'm really considering about going out and just buying 3 fresh bins and starting out at the bottom. Even though I have reservoirs right now, I feel like I just want something newer. I just haven't found something that's this big. And this is just such a perfect size. I mean, look how it sits. There's the perfect amount of space between the light and the plants as they develop, as long as the length, also the length. Look at that, from here right back into here. I mean, it sits perfectly, absolutely perfectly on this metal rack. This metal rack could also be found down below, as well as everything else. The tubing, look at this huge thing of tubing. This is how I buy my tubing. Okay, this is the only way you should be buying your tubing, because after every grow, you're gonna have all sorts of, you know, minor molding, minor just kind of gunky tubing. So a lot of times I like to use fresh tubing. It's not a big deal. One of those rolls is like 20, 25 bucks, maybe a little more, but that's what you need. Make sure to get your temperature gauge. Make sure you get yourself a fan. All important things for a good grow. It doesn't need to be this huge. All right, sorry guys, rambling on. Super excited to get this going for you. A lot more content to come. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Would love to get, you know, 50 likes and 15 to 20 comments. I'd really appreciate you also sharing these videos with anybody in your family on any of your social platforms that you're continuously on. And I think there's a lot of people that need to learn how to grow their own food, and it's fun and it's exciting. Okay, period. That's really what it comes down to. Can you imagine teaching your kids how to be able to grow? That's it, guys. It's Mike here from Growing Indoors 365. Make sure that you check out growingindoors365.com, our Instagram page, our Facebook page. Go out, subscribe, and hit the links down below. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great week.